It's the midfield overhaul, which for the fans has been coming for a long time. They've seen a good start to it during this summer and they want more. And I'm sure Jurgen Klopp wants more as well. But I just want to take you back to this time last year when Jurgen Klopp was discussing, I think, a lot of rumours around the future of Jude Bellingham at the time and whether they needed a player like him in the squad. And I think he remarked on the players that he had: Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Milner, Keita, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho and Oxlade-Chamberlain. He said, now you tell me, what kind of player are we missing? Take that forward to January, and he said we started the season with 9 midfielders, those I just mentioned, and he said in every aspect there was everything: creativity, speed, excitement, and because of youth, technique, fight, runners, he said it's all there and they all have contracts, is what he said. Now we fast forward to this summer. Carvalho loaned, Milner, Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain gone, Henderson, Fabinho and Thiago all linked with moves away. It leaves Elliott and Jones and the 2 new additions, Szoboszlai and McAllister, linked with Romeo Lavia at Southampton as well. It means that they could lose 6 of the 9 that he was talking about being entrenched in the Liverpool team just 12 months ago. And I wonder whether, with such an overhaul, Jordan Henderson and that move that we just discussed to Al Ettifaq out in Saudi Arabia, whether the club captain, whether someone who has been there lifting trophies over the last 5 years and longer, should remain at the club to provide that continuity of culture in the Liverpool changing room. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's essential that that happens, actually. I would say that there is a very thin line between a reset and a reimagination and a demolition. To lose 6 midfielders in one window is a demolition. That isn't an improvement. That isn't a reimagination. That is a complete and utter gutting of a midfield.
Tearing it down and building
tearing
again.
It down. And I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's wise. And I don't think it will ultimately lead to success this season. I think that you could, when you talk about the players that are going to be leaving, if you explore each player that has either already left or could potentially leave, if you explore it in isolation, I think you can justify the exit of each player. So I think if you would say Naby Keita, should he stay or go? I think if I would say go, you would possibly agree. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, again, similar. James Milner. Jordan Henderson as an individual, maybe. Fabinho as an individual, maybe. All 5 of the players that I just said, though, all 5 of the players I just said in one window, I think is troubling from a Liverpool perspective. And now we're talking about Jordan Henderson. Firstly, it's important to acknowledge that Jordan Henderson is the captain. So he is the captain of this Liverpool team. He is the captain of the most successful era that Liverpool have had in the Premier League era. For a Saudi club to take Liverpool's captain is a real coup for the Saudi League. But also, what it leaves behind is a gaping hole in that team, because however highly you regard Jordan Henderson as a player today, however well you think he contributes to Klopp football, whatever his ability on the ball, however many goals he scores, if you look at him through strictly a football lens, you are only getting half the picture. To lose Jordan Henderson, it isn't only about what he does on the pitch. It's about what Jordan Henderson represents to this Liverpool era. And actually, regardless of who Liverpool sign, we can talk about the players that have been coming in. What Jordan Henderson is priceless to Liverpool in one particular role, and that is the role of captain.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they can cope without him and Fabinho. One could go. For
me, it's not even necessarily just him and Fabinho. It's when you look at the number of changes and newish players. You look at the forward line. You got Darwin Núñez, fairly new player at the club. Hakpo, who's come in fairly recently as well. You've got, I was going to say Douglas Luiz. You've got Luiz as well, who has started brilliantly at Liverpool, but is a fairly new player in the forward line too. I think there are enough players who've been there for a while, if you like, to help the squad. And I named 5 players in particular in terms of that culture and leadership. When you think of Alisson in goal, Virgil van Dijk, the 2 fullbacks, Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then Mo Salah. But I do think in
you
the
didn't say a midfielder there.
Exactly.
You did not say a midfielder. And that's problematic, because I would say that the driving force of the Liverpool Klopp era, like the personality of the team, the heartbeat of the team, the engine of the team, the mentality monsters. If you personify the mentality monsters, of course Mohamed Salah is part of this. Of course Virgil van Dijk is part of this. But I would say that what separated Liverpool and what made them European champions was their midfield. It was the midfield that allowed everything else around it to succeed. It was Jordan Henderson's contribution in a defensive way that allowed Trent Alexander-Arnold's brilliance to flourish. It was the defensive work that Jordan Henderson would do over that right side.
Yeah. And Van Dijk too.
And Van Dijk over the left side that would allow it to all work. So Mohamed Salah didn't have to track back. Jordan Henderson would cover. Trent Alexander-Arnold could bomb on because Jordan Henderson would cover. That midfield and the engine of that midfield and the success of the Liverpool team was due to the brilliance of that midfield. And now, I don't know how good Alexis McAllister is going to be in a Klopp system. I don't know how good Szoboszlai is going to be in the Premier League. But I think that both of those players would find it so much easier if Jordan Henderson was there, because he sets the tone, doesn't he? The Liverpool are represented by players like Fabinho and Jordan Henderson. He sets the standards, the professionalism, what we expect from a Liverpool midfielder. It's set by Fabinho and Henderson. So having them there to welcome in the two new additions, I think would be beneficial to Liverpool as a whole.
Yeah, I think it would be a big blow to lose Jordan Henderson. And when we think about the level of leadership that he's got, and the fact that they're going to sell him for £12 million, that's the reported fee for the move to Saudi Arabia. For me, and I know they won't, there's big money on the table, and I'm sure, given the service he's given to the club, they won't want to stand in his way from a big final payday, maybe before retirement. I think from a human perspective, they would want to see him go and get that money. But in terms of the culture of the Liverpool squad right now, I think he's integral. And I think with the midfield overhaul being as drastic as it is, or it could be in particular, if you lose Fabinho, you lose Thiago as well. If those players are to go, you need someone like Henderson to stay. I think it's so important that your club captain, in a period like this, gives you that continuity.
Because he's irreplaceable as well. All of the attributes that you may think Alexis McAllister will bring, or Szoboszlai will bring, it's impossible for any new addition to bring what Jordan Henderson will bring. So if you lose him, it is to the detriment of the team.
I can't believe Jordan's leaving us like this. I appreciate his service, 12 years at the club. A career is short for a footballer. None of us can really turn down whatever it is a week you're being offered. But Jurgen, I think, originally wanted to keep hold of James Milner for another year for this particular reason, to help transition newer players into the team. But I'll put this on Stevie G. How can you tap up our captain like this now? Why couldn't you wait until Christmas or next year? Why did you do it now? Because you know how the club operates more than anyone. And you've literally taken away the voice. When you watch Liverpool, all you can hear is Robertson. All you can hear is Jordan constantly talking. Even when they argued with Alisson last season, I don't know if you remember the game where we're going through a shallow period. It's good. They talk to each other. They talk to the other players. And for me, I was devastated to lose James Milner because of his professionalism. I wanted him to stay there as a coach after he hung up his boots. But to lose your captain, you might not play every game, but you'll play the important ones. You'll be Klopp's voice in the dressing room, just like Gerard used to be. And you've literally, I know it's a difficult decision, but the way you've left right during pre-season, as soon as he was left out of the squad, a bit like today's breaking news, you knew that was it, game over, you're gone. Because Klopp won't want you anywhere around the first team if your head's not in it. He's always said that. If you want to leave us, see you later. No matter how much it hurts. And he could have had a send-off last year with the great Bobby Firmino, but no, he's done it too late and we've had no time to recover.
Joel, do you think that this news coming out of Real Madrid could potentially benefit you, though? If we're right and the ripple effect is going to start within the transfer window, if Mbappe suddenly ends up going to Real Madrid will want to raise funds. Presumably that will mean that either Valverde or Tchouaméni leave. Tchouaméni to Liverpool's already been spoken about a fair bit. He's a brilliant midfielder. This could at least sugarcoat the bitter pill, couldn't it?
You're talking the dream that we can only wish for, but the way FSG run the club, yes, thank you for saving us from hits in Gillette. We were going to the wall. You've restructured the club. I've been to the extensions. It's beautifully run, but when it comes to putting up the money, they've been so careful. But since we've lost Edwards as our chief negotiator, I think they've dropped the ball a couple of times, and I don't see them doing that. Yes, I was surprised they put up the money to keep Mo Salah, but they didn't do it to keep Mane and Salah. And you can only keep your fingers crossed. I'm not usually pessimistic when it comes to my team. I've supported them for 43 years, but...
Listen, they need something else, though. We know that Liverpool are going for something else in that midfield. There's big rumours around Romeo Lavia at Southampton, and we know that there's a holding midfielder that they kind of think they need to bring in. Whether that means they can only bring that player in if Jordan Henderson leaves or if Fabinho leaves, at this point, we don't quite know. So we're going to see how things pan out.
About the ripple effect, because it's a bit like everyone knows West Ham have got 100 million in the bank, so that ripples throughout football. So suddenly players that should be 20, 30 million, as ridiculous as that sounds, you're now hearing 70 million, 80 million, 100 million pound footballers are nothing. You're quite right. It's going to be £1 billion in less than 5 years. No way. It's I don't know. It's going to be an amazing summer of football. I just hope we don't fall victim and we can somehow make it into the top four and maybe get back to challenging again for the title.
Listen, that's a whole other conversation. That is a whole other conversation, Joel. But I kind of think that Liverpool have a chance next season. But we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for your call. Just want to squeeze one more person in at least if we can. Adam's a Liverpool fan. Good evening. Welcome to talkSPORT. Should Jordan Henderson be staying at the club in your eyes?
Yeah, I was on Evening Lads. I hope you're all right.
Good evening,
I was on last week with Neville and Gabby, and I basically said I'd be gobsmacked if he leaves, but it looks like he is leaving now. I'm confused with it, but at the same time, I think him and Jurgen Klopp have had a chat, and basically I think Liverpool are turning into a possession-based team now. I don't think we're having that heavy metal type of football, and what Rory was saying is, Rory, isn't it? What you were saying before about made a lot of sense, was our midfield, in my eyes, won us everything that you can win. They were the main part of why we won it. I always said it. Henderson was a right back, Ronaldo was a left back. I could go all day about that midfield. They weren't like the glory hunters, but they were unbelievable in what they done. They made Trent, they made Salah, and last season they were the reason why we were so bad, because we didn't have a midfield. So my point is, I think Jurgen Klopp's changing his way now, where he brings the fullbacks in as midfielders. And McAllister isn't a runner, let's be honest. He's not. He hasn't got the legs of Henderson, so we're turning into a possession-based team. So I think they've had a conversation. Jurgen Klopp said, "I want you to stay, but basically you're going to be a Europa League player." And he's gone, "I've got 700 grand a week to earn. I'm going there." Which you can't blame him. No. So you get what I mean? So it's.
Are you concerned, Adam? Though, are you concerned? Sorry to interrupt. Are you concerned about the leadership element that Rory was discussing a little bit earlier on, though?
Yeah. That's where I am concerned, even though I can see why he's leaving. Because that's what I said on the show last week. He helps that team so much as a captain. I heard the conversation yesterday about who's the better captain, Steven Gerrard or Jordan Henderson. What I would say, I love Gerrard, but there's an argument. I'm not saying he was better. I'm saying there's an argument to it. There's an argument to it. He's won every trophy. And the big thing for me was the Barcelona game with Henderson. He drove. If you look at that first goal, he laid that first goal on by driving forward. And then the next one was when we were beating Spurs 2-0 in the Champions League final. And he got Mo Salah by the scruff of the neck and said, "Keep running." Do you get what I mean? And he keeps everyone going, the so-called superstars going. So he'll be a massive miss for Liverpool, but he also understands why he's leaving.
Liverpool fans, if you know Adam, get on the phone to him. He knows it. He knows it. Henderson was a better captain for Liverpool than Gerrard. That's what Adam, in fact, quote Adam on that. Every time you see him out in the pub or whatnot, he went on talkSPORT and said Henderson's a better captain than Gerrard. You heard it here first.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate it hugely, because that was a debate that was had on this show yesterday.
Not yesterday, maybe the day before.
Day before, yeah. I think there's definitely some truth in it, and Adam spoke very intelligently there, I think.
Adam, appreciate your call on talkSPORT this evening. The leadership qualities.
It's worth its weight in gold, isn't it, Hugh? Though?
Yeah.
We know that leadership on the pitch is so important, and it isn't about ability as a player. It's about the way that you approach the game, the way that you are selfless, the way that you give so much to others, the way that you inspire more from others. And I think Jordan Henderson just has that in abundance, and he's practically irreplaceable for Liverpool.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.